I'm excited to come talk to you about this today, guys. Today we're going to dive really into, yesterday we talked about the concept of what is a quantum leap, right? What is a quantum leap? Today we're going to talk about what a quantum leap takes. And this is kind of one of the places that a lot of people don't realize and have a lot of resistance to going to. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. I love coming on here and talking to you guys, so I'm really, really excited by today. I've also got my nails done, and some of you guys aren't going to care, but also I don't care. Look at that. Isn't that the most fun thing ever? I'm thrilled by it. So today we're talking about, right, I want to start grounding this principle of quantum leaping with you, because when we talk about what is a quantum leap, right? A quantum leap is it's this huge up level that comes out of nowhere, that doesn't make sense. I've put a couple of things about this in my stories, and I think if you ask anyone do you want a quantum leap in your business? Do you want a quantum leap in your relationships? Do you want a quantum leap in your health, in your joy? Most people would say yes. So why are most people not living this, right? That's what I really want to start speaking to in these next days. If so many people, would say, yes, give me a quantum leap, I want the quantum leap, don't actually experience it, what's actually happening there? And that's what we're going to start diving into and lining up with today. But hello, Paige, Natalie, there's lots of people that have interesting Instagram names that aren't their names. So hello all of you, KR. It's amazing to have you guys here. I would love us, for those of you that are sitting down to watch these lives this week and that are making the most of these 4 days that I'm speaking to you about quantum leaps, I'd like you to set an intention today, and I'd like the intention to involve an action, so we really actually just take this from listening to me to actually incorporating this in your life. And I speak about this 120 times. That's what makes the difference. So let's start seeing those in the chat. What is your intention for these 4 days? What is your intention with what you learn in these 4 days about quantum leaps, right? And I've had so many of you guys in my DMs that listen to this live or in the replays being something really clicked and now unblocked something and is making sense. So I would love you to keep throwing that into my DMs and sharing with me kind of what drops in. But yes, before that, we're setting an intention, guys. We're setting an intention. What are we doing with this information? What are we doing with the information that we're learning here on Instagram? Because here's the thing, you can have a transformation process just from being on my Instagram. I mean, it's not the same as a paid offering, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't do anything. Hi Nova, what is your intention for these 4 days? And maybe you haven't thought about it. So it's really great that we're asking the question. I love that. So Awakened with Kate says to create enough money to pay up front for the apartment that I've fallen in love with. I love that. I love that. As you guys probably know, manifesting my partner and I's current house was really, really, really a big part of my journey too. So holding that for you, Kate. Amazing. Anyone else? What is your intention with this work? What's your intention from learning about how to quantum leap? What are you going to do with it? Where are you going to apply it? Right? Where are you going to apply this? And just thinking about it. And I'll give you maybe, hi Karanina and Sophie. And Dana, hello love. What is your intention and how are you going to apply it? To quit my full-time job, move to Bali and start my business. Love, 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 love. I love all the people that quit their job. So many people quit their job when they start working with me. And start a business. And I love it and it makes me laugh. Yes, that share about your leap into your place was so synchronistic. Yeah, yep. No coincidences here. Okay. And maybe you just want to feel into that intention for yourself. Maybe you feel that you don't want to share it, which is okay. Maybe you just want to feel it into yourself. What is the intention? Where am I going to apply this? Where am I going to apply this work in my life and actually experience it, right? Because again, the theory is so amazing. Oh yay, quantum leaps are great, but what would it actually be like to decide and go for it? to decide and move. I keep saying this all the time. Decide and move. Decide and move. But today we're going to talk about one aspect of the quantum leap which I think is pivotal. Like, it's literally pivotal to making it, or better said, allowing it to happen. We all have the potential to have quantum leaps in all areas of our life, but it's actually our fear, our resistance, our belief, our thoughts, our inactivity that blocks it. So something that I really want to ground in before we go on to this, the quantum leap is available, but it's also a process of allowing, because the potential is there, right? It's actually about discovering the limits that we have within ourselves to having this experience and eliminating them. Nova's saying to let go of fears of sharing and trust. Yay! Nova, you're doing that here by sharing. And yeah, trust is a big piece. Trust is a big piece, especially when we're working with the energetic, especially when we're working with potential. We need to be working on trusting ourselves. That is huge, but also trusting life. You know, many of us have been brought up into family environments or conditionings or places, you know, where we've been taught, you know, to not expect good things to come, or to not be optimistic, because what if you're disappointed? You know, it's better to not try than be disappointed. I don't know how many of you guys have experienced that. There are so many people that are actually not moving forward with their dreams and their desires because they're so afraid of disappointment, and that fear of disappointment is greater than the vision. We want to start shifting that imbalance. But what I want to talk to you today is about the path of the non-logical, okay? On my finances, I'm going to drive and listen. Amazing, Carolina. Okay, yup, my family always go the guaranteed route. Yeah, loads of us have been taught this. It's like, you know, sentences like, it's too good to be true. Like, we live in a society where we're literally brought up around the conditioning of it's too good to be true. So we actually feel like reckless and silly or delusional, or any of these words that we use to describe going for our dreams, because we've been taught that things can be too good to be true, but they can't be too good to be true. I had a coach that said things can be good and true. Yeah. Yes, preparing for and focusing on my worst case, but not best case. How many of you guys, and actually check in with that now, how many of you guys would you say you have a condition, a habit pattern of worst case scenario thinking or best case scenario thinking? Because that's something that we ultimately need to be changing. The thing is, if we focus on worst case scenario, we create worst case scenario. If we focus on best case scenario, we create best case scenario, right? And Bob Proctor says this. He's like, we can use our imagination to create, but most people are creating terrible things and scaring themselves silly through thought. So maybe our intention is to stop that today. Maybe our thought is, if you're listening to this and your intention is, okay, I'm going to stop scaring myself shitless through telling myself horror stories of all the terrible things that are going to happen to me, right? You can stop that today. And if you find it really, really hard, and I know I've shared this with you guys before, if you find it really, really hard to stop thinking patterns that you know that aren't serving you, you can just sit down, close your eyes, visualize a black screen, and then in front of that, the word stop, and focus on the word stop until that thought pattern ceases. That really helps me, and I've shared that with you guys, because I do have a tendency when my nervous system goes into fight or flight to get into racing thought, right? So I kind of, the flight response. But let's ground this, okay? So quantum leaping. What are quantum leaps going to require from you, right? Quantum leaps are going to require for you to take illogical action. This is where people literally get stuck. So yesterday I was like, okay, quantum leap is when we stop, because most of us have been educated, right? That to get to a goal, we take incremental steps until we get to the thing. It's literally like that visual of climbing a mountain. This is what we've been educated in, right? And so when we come to the concept of the quantum leap, right, what we start to say is, no, we're not taking incremental steps. We're literally a huge shift in reality that doesn't make sense. That's how we described it yesterday. And so people, when they get to that concept, like we started with yesterday, think, yes, okay, this is good. I get this. I get the concept. I want it. I want the quantum leap in whatever area it is. Like, I desire it. That's desirable for me. And then without realizing, they try to go towards the quantum leap using the old model of creation. So people are like, yes, I want the quantum leap, da-da-da, like I'm so down, it makes sense, I want this huge shift in reality. And then they just start to apply the old model of step by step to try and get to the quantum leap. They try to come to the quantum leap in other language through logic. But the quantum leap is illogical. Do you see that that's a mismatch? That's a mismatch in inner behavior and the desired result. So the first thing that we have to understand if we want to quantum leap is that we need to start trusting in the illogical, the sideways moves, the hits of inspiration that come to you that don't make sense, the moves that aren't the logical thing to do. Because if we keep doing the logical thing, we can only get logical results, right? Now, on top of this, people want to get to the quantum leap and they think that they can get to the quantum leap by doing the same things they've always done. But here's the thing, if you want exponential results, if you want to get results that you've never had before, you're going to have to do things that you've never done before. I'm going to apply this to business, right? Many people build to a certain level, let's say it's 6 figures, through doing a certain thing. And then they get to a ceiling at 6 figures and they realize that they're really finding it hard to go above. We could put 6 figures there, 1 million there, we could put 10K there, it doesn't matter, okay? This is just an example. They hit this ceiling. And so what people start doing when they hit this ceiling and they want exponential results, they want crazy, huge growth, what they start to do is like they think back to all of the things that have worked prior for them and they start doing those things but harder, but faster, right? And this is when you start to see people burning out. They're starting to be that fly going through the window. This thing used to work for me. This thing feels safe. This thing is comfortable. I'm going to do this thing again and again and again and again and again and hope that miraculously it works. But to get a quantum leap, we need to be able to step back and actually do something different. And this is very often going to mean doing something that scares you. Doing something that is out of your normal. Doing something that's actually going to change your state of being. You're going to become a new person. And I want to give you another business example that's been a quantum leap for many people. Hi, Rach, darling. It's been a quantum leap for many people. It's like, I know people that have had big explosions in business through writing one email to the right person, right? Writing one email that has got them an opportunity to speak in front of a stage of thousands of people, has tapped them into a new audience that didn't used to be their audience. And that one email that may have felt scary because you're putting yourself out there, it feels illogical, right? Has been what's blown up that person's business. This is just one example. So this is the premise that we want to start coming to. If we want a quantum leap, we need to start thinking differently. We need to stop repeating thoughts, feelings, and doings that we've always done and start thinking creatively, okay? And so I've explained this many times, starting to think creatively can be stopping to think of all the reasons that something isn't possible and to start thinking of all the ways to do something. So let's say your quantum leap, what you want to bring into your life, what you want to manifest, okay, is that dream house, that down payment on the house. And I know I had that in the chat. So what I would do then, and I've described this with you guys many times in different formats, in videos, in content, in loads of places, right, is I would literally write down a list of ways. Now, in those list of ways, there are going to be things that you have never ever done before. They're going to be things that scare you. They're going to be things that put you out of your comfort zone. Now, those are the moves that make the things happen, right? Are we getting this? That it's those moves that are illogical that make the things happen, right? So what I would be doing if I had a quantum leap that I wanted to be bringing into reality, if I wanted to be doing something to really, really shift my reality and change my life, let's say this is a financial goal, right? What I do is I start to align myself with the end. Too many people focus on the middle when they're trying to quantum leap. They're in that old mentality of I need to know every single step. I need to know every single step, and if I don't, I can't start. What I do is I start aligning with the end. What is the final thing that I want? And that's why I asked you guys, what's your intention? What are you quantum leaping to? Like, how can we quantum leap if we don't know like where we're jumping to, right? How does the universe know what to give you? So let's say your quantum leap is a financial goal. And I also teach a lot on money, which is why I always talk about money in the examples. And that's, 6 figures in savings, multi-6 figures in savings, millions in savings, tens of millions in savings. It doesn't matter what it is, it's the same process. If you want to have a quantum leap, you have to have a clear vision. And some people, because of their human design, are more specific. Some people don't need to be specific. Doesn't matter. That's individual difference. But I would be getting that vision of the thing that I want, right? And I would not be worrying or micromanaging the journey there. I would just be getting super duper clear. And I would decide that it was happening. I would let go of timelines, because sometimes when we're obsessed with timelines, it can create more resistance because we're in the, it's not here yet. So I would let go of timelines and I would start focusing on that end result. Now, this is what happens, guys, and I'm bringing this back together for you. This is what happens when we're focusing on that point that we want to jump to. When we're focusing on what we're calling in, right? We start vibrationally acclimatizing to that place. And this is where the ideas start dropping in. Let's say it's $1 million in your bank account. You're holding it. You've decided, right? You're visualizing every single night that $1 million in your bank account. You're doing your belief work. You're shifting your frequency. You're changing your self-image to match that end point. What's going to happen is, on a frequency level, you are now a match to €1 million ideas. And because they're different ideas to the type of ideas your old self would have, they are going to feel like illogical moves, right? They're not going to be from your logic, because your logic is going to be a match to your current results. And so when these ideas start dropping through, this is the process of allowing, guys. This is the process of allowing. When these ideas start dropping through, what many people do is they go, oh, not that. Like, that's big and scary. That's crazy. I would never do that. And so that divine inspiration, all of those millions of ways that can get you to quantum leap, you're swatting them away because your old paradigms and thought patterns aren't allowing them to stay. Right? And so what I want you guys to get from this is that it is safe and that it is okay to trust the illogical. And I'm going to tell you some stories of when this is, so you can see how it's played out in my life. Right? To trust the illogical. Because if they were logical, they would be connected to your current set of results. And so let's ground this, and I want to open the chat, and if you're listening to the replay, you can also share this here. What illogical ideas and sets of inspiration have been dropping in for you that maybe you've been scared to do. I think when there is fear and there is an edge, it's a sign that we're going in the right direction. When I started my abundance journey, many moons ago, it feels like, about 4 years ago, I've shared this story many times, I was in a place where I was actually doing network marketing, guys, and didn't last long. And I had made my first 2,000 euros. I told you this, right? I made my first 2,000 euros. I put one of these like checks, magic checks on my altar. And I was in a very desperate place. Like I needed to make those 2,000 and I did. And it astounded me, amazed me. It was my first 2,000 I'd ever made in a month for me at the time. And that was like crazy amount of money. And I was so proud of myself. And then I got invited to an alternative economy. I'm not going to tell you more about that. I'm not going to tell you what it was because it's not related to the story. And to start this process, to be involved in this movement, I had to gift more than $1,000. I had to put more than $1,000 into it. And I think if anyone had looked at my situation from a place of logic, right? I'd just earned 2,000. I didn't have a set income. My business was not well developed. I didn't have reoccurring income. I didn't have any of this. And I gave way more than 50% into something that was extremely unconventional, that people around me weren't doing, that when I told my parents, they literally face planted. And they were like, we're just so disappointed in you. That was their response. I was like mid-20s. Anyone would have told me that that was an illogical move, that I should save some, that I should be safe. And there was a part in me that knew that I was building something bigger than I could imagine in that moment. There was a part in me that knew that I was here for huge things. And that there was a feeling in me that told me that even though it was illogical, even though it didn't make sense in the surface, even though I was giving away more than 50% of my income, that it was going to take me somewhere that I didn't imagine. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how I made my first 70,000 in cash. No one around me could believe it. No one around me could believe it, right? It was that illogical sideways move that put me onto a different timeline. It was that year that I went from making 400 euros standardly. I had my 2,000 month, and then I was kind of like on my 400 euros, to having 6 figures in savings. In a year. If you had told me in that moment, I actually wouldn't have believed the way that it worked out. Illogical moves. And this is where, and I love, Nova, that you put in that you're working on self-trust. This is where we have to learn to trust ourselves. Because you will feel the next illogical move for you. You will feel it. But very often we gaslight ourselves and we say, it can't be that. Or we listen to other people's opinions over our own inner wisdom. But what if it is that thing? What if it is that sideways move? Let me give you another one. The house that my partner and I live in, and I've shared this here, is a house that cost 5.1 million. It was not the logical move for us, right? It was not the logical move for us. It was not the logical next house. This house is 12 times the amount that I was paying this time last year in Malaga. More than 12 times, nearly 13 times the amount that I was paying 1 year ago. That is not a logical move. But moving to this house has meant that Craig and I have had illogical jumps in income. That was when I first had my first 6-figure week, you know, 6 figures in 6 days. That's when I did my first 6-figure day. It was when we decided on this house. It was an illogical move. Every time I've invested in myself that might have looked illogical, I've got my final payment for the house on the 1st of September. Okay, the 1st of September, we pay off the rest of the house. And most people wouldn't invest in a high-level mastermind when they have a high-level investment to come out of their bank account. In Ibiza, you don't pay month by month, you pay in 2 chunks. And just imagine the rent on this place, okay? It's in Ibiza as well. But there's something in me that knew that that mastermind was part of my quantum leap. And so I found a way. I'm now part of that mastermind, regardless of it being logical. So we need to step out of this. I do things step by step, the next logical thing, and we need to start taking bold action and bold risks, right? Because if you want a quantum leap, you need to go to places that you have never, ever, ever gone before. And it's going to require more of you. You know? And I'm actually going to go back to this book because I said this is what we're studying, and I'm going to read this for you guys. Quantum leaps require paradoxal behavior, unusual moves. Hola, Maria, amor. Actions that on the surface seem to contradict common sense. As human beings, though, we ordinarily go with the obvious. We fall into the habit of relying on behaviors that have worked best for us throughout the years. When we take an approach that seems to be very serviceable and which enables us to perform well and succeed, we become attached to it. Who is this for? Oh my God, my partner's just hopped on the live. I'm going to get trolled. Right? We resist new maneuvers because they make us feel clumsy, awkward, and more at risk. Who is this for? Kate, you've put there, ideas have been dropping in and then I get stuck on the how part. But that's the piece that stops us moving. We don't know the exact process that we're going to do it, so we don't start. What would it be like to just start? Even if you don't know the exact pieces of that dream coming into place. What if we allowed ourselves to take clumsy, awkward, and risky action? You know, when I started speaking, my business is literally, like my business strategy is I go places and I speak. Like I swear to God, I speak all of the time. When I started public speaking, I was terrified. I didn't know how to public speak. I didn't know how to engage with an audience. I didn't know how to tell a story, but I just went. And I let it be messy, and I let it be clumsy, and I let it be awkward, right? Who is that for? How many of us need to allow ourselves to take messy action and to step away from needing to know all the things and having all of the ducks in a row, right? Before we make a move. Quantum leaps in their initiation very often are messy. My partner's just put, shall I put you on a spoon and wobble you? Okay guys, I'm going to share something. Like, I'm a strange little being, hence why my partner calls me Ferret. And the other day I woke up and I'd had a couple of G&Ts, and I drink, just to give you guys a perspective, like maybe 2 times a year, right, at most. And I woke Craig up by hugging him and being like, babe, will you put me on a spoon and wobble me? I have no idea where it came from, but it came out of my mouth, and now Craig's brought it to this live so you guys can hear how strange I am in my life. Right? Let's go back to the quantum leap. Ruth, you made it here just for that anecdote. We have to be willing to break out of our routines, right? Because if you keep relying on old routines and maybe leaning on them when your performance flattens, you will create a trap for yourself. Who is this for? There is an irony here. Your most dependable behavior become your major obstacles to success. It's possible for them to cripple your progress. There is, however, another course of action, and that's the way of the quantum leap, right? Bye, bagel. Yes, I can do messy action within my comfort zone. Okay, message received. Beautiful, beautiful. What else have we got here? Same Kate. Can we do messy action outside of our comfort zone? Can we do things that feel risky? Because that's the next piece in the quantum leap. Do we have any questions? Because tomorrow I'm going to carry on. Maybe tomorrow we'll do meditation to practice getting in this. Trying to think. Any questions? I mean, I love this. Like, the definition of the quantum leap in this book is taking a risk, going off into uncharted territory with no guide to follow. With no guide to follow. Scary but beautiful but fun. Karine says, just being in your presence makes me up level, Hannah. And I love, Karine is my client. And Karine literally, like, I basically teach all of the time in the School of IH. I teach 4 times a week. And Karine, I love Karine's commitment and dedication to this. I know for Karine, jumping into the School of IH was a quantum leap and it was frightening, and she did it. And she's just committed to another 8 months on top of her 8 months. And she's still here. So love you and appreciate you, Karine. And I love the fact that you're still here on a live. Nova says, I'm going to meditate on this. Beautiful, beautiful action step, integrating this. Yeah, it's been in my life lately. The sewing won't work where you're heading. Yes, 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 yes. Right, beautiful. Karine says, you show that the illogical is still possible. And the illogical is going to look different for me and for you. It's like you're illogical, right? It's trusting that inner feeling, that intuition. Creative energy is always moving through us, right? Can we allow it? If we're really, really, really silent and we're really, really honest, we know the steps, right? Okay, I want to leave you with this tiny, hi Faye darling, this tiny little anecdote for you guys whilst you kind of chew on to today. I think tomorrow we'll do a practice, okay? The formula to a quantum leap does not involve getting everything neatly organized and all of the risks eliminated before making your move. There's an element of hip shooting here. Don't count on having all of your procedural issues for the journey buttoned down before you begin the trip. You must be willing to tolerate ambiguity, confusion, possibly even chaos for a while, shaping your game plan as you go. Allow some disorder in your life. If you get too concerned with the step-by-step plan of action to be followed, you'll find yourself brooding over the potential problems and roadblocks that can be encountered. For now, all you need is an aiming point and action. Final sentence. Look at it this way. You're not supposed to be concerned about what happens in the middle of a jump. You're supposed to be thinking about where you are going to land, okay? That's what I'm leaving you guys with. What do you desire? Where do you want to land? That's your focus. And we take action and we let go what it looks like, right? And I think if me, a triple Virgo, right? I have very strong Virgo placements. If I can let go of it being perfect and getting all my ducks in a row and allow myself to move, right? I'm sure we all can. And if you've got a lot of Virgo placements in your chart as well, I feel you and we can do it. Paige says, I'm definitely going to be revisiting these lives. Yeah, beautiful. Revisit these lives and write down the sentences that speak to you. Okay? So your homework, your integration piece for today is really focusing and feeling into where can you take that messy action? Where can you start to move, right? And this is something that I always share with my clients, right? I live, and this is literally my secret sauce. Like if I could create a secret energetic sauce, this is what it would be. I act in every single moment as if everything that I do is successful. That is my state of being, always. I hold the belief system that every single thing I do is successful. Even if I can't see evidence for it in that moment. Because I trust that it is coming. And the affirmation that I use that has changed my life is literally everything I do turns to gold. And I'm giving it to you guys to try on and implement and use in your life. Because here's the flex. Can we act as if everything that we do is successful, even when there isn't yet results for it and time hasn't caught up? That is the secret sauce. It's been such a pleasure talking to you guys today. I'm gonna go grab the rest of the evening sun and we'll see each other here tomorrow. Please feel free to drop me a DM about what's landing for you, what's speaking to you, any questions that you may have. Maybe let's do Thursday as like a question and answer session. So if you have got questions, one big question is really helpful for me instead of lots of little questions just for time. If you drop me one big question in my messages, then I can speak to that and really support you further. You are all so welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm so excited to see this impact your lives. And we'll see each other tomorrow at 6 CET. Oh, I just kicked. I just kicked my phone stand. Bye, everyone. You're so welcome.